Keystone family, thanks for tuning in. Debbie and I had the privilege, I guess you could say, of attending the CREB forecast last week, and we want to pass along that info to you. What is the CREB forecast? It's just an opportunity for realtors to hear from our real estate board what is expected to happen in 2025 and a bit of a summary from last year. So we want to pass that along to you. Of course, the question at the start of the year is always, what can we expect to be happening with our homes, our investments, things like that? I'm going to go through this as quickly as possible so as not to bore you too much. But if you do need some bedtime reading to help you fall asleep, I have attached these slides as well as a number of other stats packages that you can peruse at your pleasure and really dig into the details of your area, your style of home or whatnot. That being said, if you would like a personalized update as to what's going on with your home, or you just want to have a chat, have a coffee with either Debbie or myself, we would love, of course, to get together with you to help you with that and something a little more specific together. So let's run through this. So 2024 sort of fell in line with the 2023 forecast of 2024, and Marie Lurie, our economist, is fabulous at this. She does it very well. She's been doing it for years. As you can see on the left there, the forecast was for 28,000 sales in homes and a 7%, you can't see it under my picture there, but 7% increase. We saw, she was only off by 1,000. That's amazing to me. And the price growth was actually 8% year over year. So she knows what she's talking about. She dives deep into this. Here's the brief summary. You can see first half of the year, pretty typical for Calgary, up 6% in sales. Inventory was down. It's the hottest part of the year. Prices were up 10%. Second half of the year, a little bit slower, down in sales, but still up 5% overall. Too much supply. Really want to focus on this slide, top right, resale inventory per capita. You can see over the last 20 years where we stand. On the far right, there's 2024. Our inventory per capita, per person or family, however you want to look at that, is that we're really below the trends for the last 20 years. Our inventory continues to remain very low. This is just talking about vacancy. I know some of my investors would love to just pour over this a little bit more, see what's going on. You can see which areas of the city were really up. I was surprised myself, the northwest part of the city being up so significantly in rentals. But what you will see here along the way is that we had a lot of new builds in the condo apartment style up in that area. Here you go, new construction, City of Calgary, completions last year were just under 20,000, 44% of those rental. And that's a fairly significant number of rentals. Forecasted for 2025 is 70. Here at the bottom, sort of the percentage of how many are under construction, and 61% of those being apartment style. Quite significant. Share of the city, where are those builds going? Largest portion northwest, some of those big communities up there that some of you are in. A lot of new development up in that area, which is why we see a lot of the new construction there. So inventory gains, new home inventory for 2023 and 2024. See the segments of the market where those were low and high and how much we went up in 2024. Bottom right there, the resale average inventory for Q4. Lots of increase in that apartment, especially Q4 of 2024, which really affected any of you who had condo investments and were trying to rent those out, obviously. Here's a bit of shift in what's going on in the condominium market. I'm not going to hover on this one too long, as much to say, here we go. You can see the bottom right here, the apartment price growth for 2025 is going to be the lowest of all the segments of the market. It's going to be around that 1.8%, and that is because of how many developments, how many new builds are going to be in that area, and how many people are trying to move up into the townhome and semi-detached. You're going to see there's going to be a larger increase in those areas. So speaking of townhomes, or what we call row inventory, a lot of that increase will be east, north, and east of the city. And we're going to see quite a significant increase in those areas. Prices are going up this year. The inventory is still low, which is why we're going to see some increases of that. Pardon me. This is the detached, sorry, we're on to here. Detached, we're only going to see 3,500 new units over this year for detached homes. That's not a lot for a city of over greater Calgary area, 1.4 million. We're expecting a population increase still this year of 3%. So 3,500 units of new construction is really not that significant. And that's going to be playing out throughout the year. That's not going to be all on the market for our spring market, unfortunately. Our surrounding area, you can see here where things are going up, where things are relatively stable. The differences, price for Airdrie pricing, 642,000. As far as Calgary pricing, 748. Very, very similar in the months of supply in those two places. More supply in places like Stamere and Rocky View. There's a higher availability, but of course the pricing is higher there as well. So you're getting a little bit more, obviously, for your home in size in some of these areas, and property size as well. Our price growth for detached homes is going to be stable, be even a little bit more than it is going to be down 10%, but let's be honest, down 10% from the last year isn't a bad thing. It gives us more of a stable market, more of a balanced market. Allows you, if you're thinking about buying, to more easily get into the market. You're not competing with 40 other people. But we are seeing on those really nice homes, we are still seeing competing offers. Expected just under 3% forecast in price growth for 2025. All right, the risk here, there's a bit of risk coming into 2025. As you can see in the bottom right here, condo apartments will see the least amount of growth. We're going to see the highest amount of growth in that townhome range, and that's obviously because of affordability and where those are going to be landing. Sales are expected to be down 0.5% this year. That's really, I think, because of inventory is even going to be available. We're not going to have as many people moving here to Calgary as well, which will affect that. Prices, as we said, are expected to go up marginally. Our job growth is expected to stay above zero in the positive, which is a good thing. It will be down from the previous year. Our labor force is expected to grow, and unemployment rate is at a higher 7.8%. We should see some growth in the areas here under my picture. Things like construction, retail, and healthcare and education will probably be some areas we can expect higher growth in. Our population growth. Okay, so the last couple of years were roughly 6% each year, which is quite significant. We're going to be down half of that this year, but that's still an upward trajectory. Okay, we'll be up in Calgary, particularly around that 3%. Alberta overall will be down and only up maybe 2%. That's just a good sign that Calgary has the job opportunities for people to come. Because of some federal mandates and changes, we won't see as many international and non-permanent residents coming into our area. We had a lot, as you can see, interprovincially, particularly from BC and Ontario over the last couple of years. Our migration was quite significant, 30% of that coming from other provinces. Our lending rates on left here says 3.25. Today that changed. They dropped it another 0.25. So we're down to 3% lending rate. Our inflation is about 2%. On the right here is what I really like, the caveat to all of this. The big question is what happens here February 1st with Trump's tariffs? And our office is throwing around the joke, calling him Uncle Trump, which I kind of like. Uncle Trump, what's he going to do? He's unpredictable. And so there's sort of three scenarios, and these scenarios come directly out of EB's economic look. And really, on the low end, if Canada and Alberta get really slammed with tariffs, expected GDP growth will be basically zero. It's not going to be a terrible hit on our economy. It's not going to be a good hit, but we're not going to tank, is the prediction. If we don't get hit with a lot, and Alberta may get away a little bit better than some of the other provinces, depending on what happens with Uncle Trump. But perhaps that'll be, if that's the case, it's a more average. We're looking at a GDP growth of 2.5%. And if then probably we'll actually see quite a good economy this year at a potentially 4% growth. I want to take you over to one last slide here. Bear with me. Just to sort of end things off here, just a general overview with what's going on in the market. I don't know if I can slide that down. I feel like you're missing a bit here. There we go. As you can see here, overall look from 2022 all the way to our forecast here in 2025. Residential price growth, 2022, 12% increase. 2023, 5.6. Last year, 7%. This is for overall residential in Calgary. Detached, if we look at the detached specifically, 14% in 2022, 7.5% in 2023, 10% last year. This year expected to be just under or around that 3% mark. Still an increase, still going up. Our highest margin, though, will be in that row or townhouse area. We'll see almost 3.5% increase. Our hardest hit is going to be apartment sales, probably only under 2%, staying relatively stable and not a lot of changes. Friends, I hope this was helpful to you. As I mentioned, we are more than happy to dive into this further and deeper with you, specifically on your area, on your style of home. All of those things make a difference as to what this year looks like. But I hope this has been helpful. Please see the attached documents in the email that this video came in so that you can have a look yourself if you'd like to. Thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful. Have a great 2025.